The restaurant hummed with quiet sophistication. Crystal chandeliers cast a golden glow over the elegant dining room, where the clinking of silverware and soft murmur of conversations filled the air. Simon, a man of refined appearance, sat at a secluded table near the corner, his tailored suit crisp and his demeanor calm. Across from him sat Isaiah, a young boy with dust-streaked cheeks and wide, cautious eyes. The scene was surreal for Isaiah. Hours earlier, he had been on the cold streets, his empty stomach gnawing at him as he wandered the city in search of scraps. Then Simon had appeared, a man who, against all odds, stopped to notice him. Simon didn't recoil like the others. Instead, he offered a warm smile and extended an invitation. "Join me for dinner," he'd said, his voice calm but firm, leaving no room for Isaiah to refuse. Now, sitting in the plush chair, Isaiah couldn't help but feel out of place. The tablecloth was pristine, the silverware sparkling. A plate of steaming pasta sat before him, the aroma making his stomach churn with hunger. Simon had already taken a bite of his meal, chewing slowly, as if savoring every flavor. "Go on," Simon said, nodding toward Isaiah's untouched plate. "Eat." Isaiah hesitated, his gaze shifting between the food and Simon. Something about the moment felt strange. He glanced at the waiter standing nearby, a tall man with a stiff posture and an expression that seemed too calculated. Then, his eyes caught something, a flicker of movement at the edge of the room. A woman in a sleek black dress stood near the bar, her cold eyes fixed on Simon. Her presence sent a chill through Isaiah, though he couldn't say why. "Sir," Isaiah began softly, his voice barely carrying over the gentle hum of the restaurant. I don't think you should eat that." Simon paused mid-bite, his brow furrowing. "What do you mean?" Isaiah leaned forward, his voice urgent. "I don't trust them," he whispered, nodding subtly toward the waiter and the woman at the bar. "Something's wrong." Simon glanced at the boy, then back at his plate. For a moment, he seemed ready to dismiss the warning. But there was something in Isaiah's eyes, a mixture of fear and conviction, that made him pause. Before Simon could respond, the woman in the black dress began walking toward their table, her heels clicking sharply against the marble floor. Her expression was tight, her movements deliberate. "Simon," she said smoothly, her voice dripping with false warmth. "I see you've brought company." Her gaze flickered to Isaiah, and her smile thinned. "How unexpected." Simon's posture stiffened. "Amelia," he said, his tone polite but distant. "What brings you here?" "Oh, I was just passing by," Amelia replied, her eyes darting toward the untouched plate in front of Isaiah. "I heard you were dining here tonight and thought I might join you." Isaiah's stomach twisted. There was something venomous in her voice, something calculated in the way she looked at Simon. "Sir," Isaiah said again, louder this time, his words cutting through the tension. "Don't eat it." Amelia's smile faltered. "Excuse me," she said, her tone sharp. Simon looked at Isaiah, his expression unreadable. Then, slowly, he placed his fork down. "Why do you say that?" he asked the boy, his voice calm but serious. Isaiah's hands trembled as he spoke. "I don't know why, but something's wrong. Please, just trust me." Amelia's eyes narrowed, and her voice turned cold. "Simon, are you really going to listen to this street kid? He's probably trying to distract you while his friends rob you blind." Simon's gaze hardened. "That's enough, Amelia." The waiter, who had been lingering nearby, suddenly took a step forward, his face pale. Before anyone could react, Simon stood, his commanding presence silencing the room. "Bring the chef," he said to the waiter, his tone leaving no room for argument. Amelia's composure cracked. "Simon, this is ridiculous. Do you really think?" "Now," Simon interrupted, his voice sharp. Moments later, the chef arrived, his expression confused. Simon gestured toward the plate. "Taste it," he said simply. The chef hesitated, his eyes darting to Amelia, whose face had gone ashen. I can't," the chef stammered. Simon's jaw tightened. "So it's true." The room fell into stunned silence. Amelia's carefully constructed facade crumbled as Simon turned to her, his voice cold and resolute. "You've gone too far this time, Amelia." Isaiah watched, his heart pounding, as security was called to escort Amelia out of the restaurant. Her protests echoed through the room, but Simon's expression remained stoic. When the commotion subsided, Simon turned to Isaiah, his gaze softening. "You saved my life," he said quietly. Isaiah looked down, his face flushed with both relief and embarrassment. "I just had a feeling." Simon placed a hand on the boy's shoulder. That feeling was courage. And it made all the difference. As they left the restaurant together, the night air felt cool and fresh against Isaiah's skin. For the first time in years, he felt seen, not as a beggar, but as someone who mattered. "Isaiah," Simon said as they walked. "If you'll let me, I'd like to help you. A real fresh start." Isaiah hesitated, his heart swelling with both hope and fear. But as he looked at Simon, he saw something he hadn't felt in a long time: trust. "I'd like that," he replied softly. And with that, a new chapter began, not just for Simon, but for Isaiah, too. And now, we want to hear from you. Do you believe a single act of courage can change someone's life? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more stories like this one. Your support helps us keep sharing inspiring tales.